Hi everyone, it's Dan Keynes back again with another mini tutorial, and today we're going to be focusing on Davinci Resolve Lite 8.1.1. Today 8.1.1 was just released, and I thought it would be really cool to introduce this today, and just want to cover some basics of setting up your Resolve solution. So I've just started the program, and we're here at the login window. And if this is the first time you're starting the program, you're going to need to create a login for yourself. And you can do that by going down here to the lower left and clicking this plus. And you can log in as an existing user. You need admin permission, so I'm just going to log in as the administrator. I think I don't have an admin password. So I'm just going to log in like that, and it'll pop up with a dialog that says add new user info. So today we'll create a new user called test, and we'll create a password. I'm just going to pick one letter here, and I go ahead and set that and then hit OK, and you'll see that we have a new user account called test, and so we'll go ahead and log in as test now. So once you've logged in, you'll be confronted with the config window, which you can see here, and this is your basic place where you can do all your basic settings, timeline, image format scaling. You can set up an external deck, input scaling, tons of options here for output monitoring. You have a LUTs tab, settings tab, lots of deep settings here. But the first thing you're going to want to do is go up to your preferences, and you're going to want to add media storage volumes. Now, if you're used to using other programs, you might not be used to this, but you basically have to give Davinci permission to see different directories or volumes on your computer. And right now I've got it set up with a directory in the root called Davinci, and I've also given it permission to see my desktop because that's where I have some media that we can look at today. Typically you want to give this thing permissions to work with external drives or resource forks, anywhere that you've got a project stored. Typically I'm doing one Lite type situations where we've just shot a day's worth of footage, or even by the roll, and we want to do a one Lite pass and then output it with a transcode or something of that nature. So I'm going to be going through a sort of one Lite pass workflow. So after you add media storage volumes with the plus button here, it'll ask you if you want to restart the program. Just go ahead and say yes, and then log back in under the account name that you've created. I've already done that, so we'll just go ahead and cancel out of here, but I just wanted to give you that quick tip. And here's your project list. That's your next step. You can create a project, and today we'll call it Davinci Test. So we'll go ahead and start with that project, and the next thing we're going to do is go over to the Browse tab here at the bottom, and we'll get to see the media storage folders that we gave access to in the first part that I showed you there. So what we'll do is we'll navigate to the desktop, and you can see that I have the same plates directory that I'd shown from my Red Cine X Pro Part 0 tutorial last time. And you'll see that we have my A001 mag from that day of shooting plates. So what we'll do is go ahead and control click or right click on that folder, and we'll go down and we'll see a little option called Add Folder and Subfolders into Media Pool. And what this will do is place all the clips in all the various subfolders in that mag into my media pool so Davinci Resolve has access to them. It'll take a second, and there they are. All the clips on that mag are in my media pool. You can see it's populated. So next what we'll do is go over to the Conform tab, and we'll see the media pool here, and we'll see timeline management. Now Davinci works with a timeline-based method of organization rather than a bin-based method of organization if you're used to using bins from Red Cine X. this is just a little bit different, and it gives you some cohesion with nonlinear editing software if you can get it to work with the database, the XML database of cuts, EDLs, or however you want to put that. And since we're just working with this in a one-lite format with a whole mag, what we'll do is we'll create a new timeline here instead of loading an existing timeline. So it'll ask us what our start time code is. This is basically edge code. It will pass time code from your original clips if you just ignore this setting. So that's our sort of edge code or reference code, and we'll go ahead and let it automate that and hit OK. And you'll see that it's populated our timeline with the various clips that I shot that day, so we can scrub through it there. Now, I'm just going to keep this real basic and go over sort of a daily's one-lite pass sort of workflow. So the next step, now that we've got that whole mag loaded up in the timeline, we can go over to color. And this is where we get to make our creative adjustments to all of the footage. So just to give you a quick example, I'm going to show you something really cool that will allow you to use a LUT, an existing LUT, over some existing footage. If you have a sort of preconceived notion of something that you'd like to apply. So what I'm going to do is go over here and control click or right click on a clip, and we can go into edit red codec settings. And this will give you controls over the metadata that you're used to working with if you're used to working with Redcine EX or working with generally any of the metadata settings from your Red 1, your Epic, or your Scarlett camera. And you can select decode quality, what resolution you want to be decoding at. And you can also adjust your settings here by going with either a global project setting, a camera metadata setting, or a by the clip, or red default, or by the clip setting. So what we'll do is we'll go to clip because we just want to tweak this one clip and give you an idea of some of the power of this program from a really basic standpoint. So I'm going to go down here to gamma curve, and instead of red gamma 2, I'm going to select red log film and go ahead and hit apply changes, and you'll see that my clip of the Golden Gate Bridge here got much flatter. Now, this was just for the sake of argument. Just want to show you one thing that you can use this for. If you have log footage and you already have a preconceived Rec 709 or other curve LUT that you want to apply to any of your footage, you can go over here to the first node. This is a color correction node, and control click or right click on that and go down to LUT, and you can select a LUT or lookup table, and in 3D LUTs you can see that they already have an Area Alexa log C to Rec 709 LUT. This is great for dailies level color without even touching anything. If someone just got a bunch of log footage in and they need to see it in a rec color space because they're worried about something, clients often are, you can go ahead and just throw this quick Rec 709 conversion on if you're lazy, or if you just want something quick, as many of us do. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and you'll see the change that it makes to my flat log color, log gamma footage. And you now have a much more vibrant, traditional Rec 709 look to the footage. You also have tons of controls. You have your three-way color corrector system here. You have a primaries adjustment and an RGB mixer. You can tweak your lift, gamma, and gain and the color bias of each. With this, we'll take that down a little bit, lift our mids, drop our shadows down, and you also have control over this with your curves here, with custom curves. So I could drop my knee just a little bit and kind of darken that up. Raise my mids just a hair. It's a little too contrasty for me. So I'm going to go back down, and then go back down, And I can also raise the shoulder or the highlights. You can see just how much, I mean, that's crazy right there, but you can see how much detail really is in this raw footage from the Epic. So, there's a nice, really basic curve that I've applied to footage that was previously in a log viewing space. So you can see just how much information is preserved, how much detail there is in the highlights through the shadows, and how we can extend that back out and change it. Now that we've done that, suppose we want to export this for some dailies. So what you could do is you could go up to Session, and you can go to Render. And this is where we have our output settings. Very convenient. First thing I'm going to do is use the prefix, suffix, and number of digits from source, and that will retain a clip name from what we shot, so that's pretty great. Frame rate, we did shoot at 24 frames per second. Our output size, Davinci Lite only lets you output in 1920 by 1080 or smaller at this time, but it is free, and often for dailies, 1080 is fine just for some dailies. And one of the other great things that they did is give us DNx HD output. So oftentimes people are asking for DNx HD dailies for an offline, and now we can deliver that really, really easily. So we can go ahead and select MXF, DNx HD 1080p, 36 and 8-bit color. Go ahead and click that. And rendering mode, we're going to set a target style rendering mode. And we can mark this as the out point for our render, since we're just going to do that one clip. You have other settings here. You can set a batch requests. You can set up a render queue. We're going to try to keep this really simple and just, give ourselves a quick reference file just to show that it works. And other settings that you have here are render clip with unique file name. That will throw more digits on the end of your clip if you're worried about overwriting something and you want to create a QuickTime file from a QuickTime, and you're afraid that you're going to overwrite your original one. You can create basically a version number by doing this. And you also have your source style, and this will let you render with a separate directory. Commercial workflow, which is more like you want to do a one-light pass on everything, and alternate passes. You can do different versions. We're going to keep it really simple and just turn all that off for today. Next thing you want to do is set your destination path. So what we'll do is we'll go back, and again, all these things are in the storage volumes that you give Davinci access to at that very first setting that I showed you. So we'll go to my desktop, and we'll control click, and we'll create a new folder called Davinci Test. Okay, and that's our target. Go ahead and select it, and it'll even show you how much disk space your render is going to take. That to me is pretty amazing. So if you're worried you're about to run out of disk space, this will tell you if you're about to make a grave mistake and cut your whole batch off 3/4 of the way through if you're going to overwrite your whole disk. So now that we've done that, we'll go ahead and just hit render, and it will start outputting. And it'll give you a frame count, again like edge code, frame count from start to finish. And you can see that this clip is estimating that it's going to take about a little less than 7 minutes right now. Keeps going up or down. I'm on a laptop right now for this recording, so I'm just using my very simple NVIDIA onboard graphics on the MacBook Pro I'm on, and we're not getting really high frames per second in the render like we would if we're using a Quadro 4000 or some other high-end card on a tower, which I do have, and I've gotten real-time outputs using a GTX 480 graphics card in my custom-built Mac system. So you get a pretty good idea of the power of this application. I gave you a really quick overview of settings and setup. but you'd be surprised at how long it took me to figure that out without any guides. I was a bit daunted by this program before I sat down and spent several hours trying to figure out everything I just showed you. So take heart, everyone, and hopefully this little guide has given you some basic tips just to get started, start playing around with Davinci. And again, in the future, maybe we'll do some more creative color sessions. This is just basically to get you up and running and kind of figure out your own workflow from your own point of view. So I hope it's been helpful. Hope you guys all are having a wonderful week, and to those of us in America, happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you soon. Thanks.